romance readers. I am Liz Donatelli. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance, the #1 romance novel talk show on YouTube. I am joined by Jen Rebecca and Alyssa Garcia, co-owners and publishers of Blush Magazine, the first editorial-based magazine focused solely on the romance novel industry. Jen and Alyssa are also co-owners of LIT UNCORKED book promotions agency and their romance writing partners. Individually, they are Jennifer Rebecca, USA bestselling romantic suspense author, and Alyssa Garcia, Associate Marketing Manager at Sourcebooks Casablanca. I chat with Jen and Alyssa about their digital romance magazine, co-writing a rom-com, and their romance reading preferences in Would You Rather. Enjoy, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance, Jen and Alyssa.
Hi, it's so good to be here.
Hi.
So it's obvious that you enjoy working together.
Yes.
And I've just learned that you live very close to one another in Texas.
Yes.
So that must mean that you never argue.
No. No, we argue.
Oh, okay.
I think it's more like being married. Like
Yes.
you're going to irritate each other, but you have to like figure out how you can fight fair, get your point across without being a jackass, and then being able to put it behind you because our husbands are friends. Alyssa and her family are actually neighbors. I'm in my dad's office, our neighbors with my parents. I live around the corner. Our kids are all friends and all go to school together. So there's no friend divorcing happening here.
Wow.
We cannot run away from each other. We know where each other sleeps.
Yeah.
Yes, we have made each other mad multiple times, but
Wow.
More
we
like a
love each
family.
other. And so we get through it just like any other good relationship.
Wow. I actually wasn't expecting that answer. I was expecting you to say, oh, we don't really argue. It's, you know.
Oh, no, we've had our moments.
Nice. Now, given the various ventures you're involved in, when you're working on which one do you do the most headbutting, would you say?
Mm.
I
I'd
would
have
say
to our book.
you go first.
The
See,
book.
I was going to say marketing because our that was not my starting point. That was my like long winding road to get to. So my having opinions in that area that are different from hers or I feel really strongly about. And part of that is that we're really not very conflict driven people. We're both really easy to get along with. So when we say we have conflict, it's really like maybe twice a year.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
And it's funny that she says that because I started out marketing and she started out writing. So it's funny that our answers are flip-flopped.
Flip-flop, yeah.
That's really maybe more of like maybe our feelings where we're in the areas where we're more insecure. And because when we both feel like we're not being appreciated is when we're like, why don't you love me anymore? I'm really irritated.
Okay. How did you two meet?
We met through a mutual friend here in town and found out we both loved books and eventually decided to go on a road trip together to meet E.L. James at Colleen Hoover's bookstore in Sulphur Springs. And
oh, wow.
My husband was like, hey, I've got some hotel points. Why don't you and your friend that you've never really spent any time with get a hotel room together and go up tonight instead of tomorrow morning? And so we journeyed our way up to Sulphur Springs, barely knowing each other, and stayed in a hotel room together, and the rest is history.
What, was there only one bed?
No, I think we had 2 beds. I don't think we've gotten to the 1 bed stage at that point. We are now, but
as I mentioned in my intro, Blush Magazine is the first editorial-based magazine focused solely on the romance novel industry. So what does Blush offer romance readers as well as romance authors?
For romance readers, it gives the readers an insight into the industry. They get to see more in-depth interviews from their authors. They get some excerpts from their favorite books. They get some tips from us about shopping in the book industry and books that we're currently loving. So we get to add in some of our own bit of spice. As for authors, it gives them a place that's just for them, to reach their readers, to reach new people that may not have ever heard of them before.
Right. So now editorial based means that there isn't a staff of reporters,
Right.
Correct? And it's more based on people's opinion. There's no like hard investigative.
No,
although
it's
that would
all-
be interesting to
Yeah,
the
it would.
underbelly of romance
And-
landia.
I mean, you're putting a light bulb in my head, and probably Jennifer's too, maybe to expand on in the future. But no, most of it's puff pieces. Again, interviews. We'll have guest articles and stuff from authors, from industry people. So a lot of it's curated.
Right.
One of the reasons why it's a little bit softer is because Alyssa and I, we're not really very conflict-driven people, and when the more rougher side of the industry comes out to play is usually when we're like, ooh, let's go over here and not be a part of that. So we really wanted to create a place where it was just fun. There was no mean-spiritedness. There was no, and so Blush became that when we took it over.
Okay.
But so there's not going to be anybody who's like, this is the worst book I've ever read. Literally never write another book again.
One of our biggest things is we're very positive and inclusive.
Yes.
We don't want negative reviews in our magazine. If we have a reviewer who wants to come to us and review a book, it has to be in a positive light.
Right.
But we have had contributors multiple times. Anybody's open to it who wants to submit, but we've had lots of authors and bloggers want to talk about the way that diversity has evolved in romance, not only romance sales, but the characters we're reading, the authors we're reading, things like that. You know, the books that our grandmothers bought at a drugstore are not the romance that we're reading now, not just in but in content as well. And so, you know, the things that they've had to do to break ground on that experience to be included in our industry.
Our whole thing is we want to be a positive light in the industry and not revolve around drama and negative things that seem to go on in communities.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, I can get behind that. So Blush magazine, its origins begin with Lit Uncorked. Is that the progression? Is that you were doing book marketing together, and then Blush was born of that endeavor? Or how did that come to be?
There was literally some like Mean Girl Tribe thing that was going on at the time, and we just wanted a place where people could talk books. So we actually opened up a Facebook group that was non-promotion. It was literally like a book club, like, let's read a book a month, let's talk about it. You know, if you want to come, anybody could come in and be like, this is my favorite thing. We had different people in the industry who could talk about different things. At the time, Alyssa was working for Kendall Ryan. I was writing. We had an editor. We had another graphic designer. We had people who could come in and kind of give a little look behind the curtain, but to keep it in a fun, positive way, because it's really easy to be like, I understand my bubble, but I don't understand someone else's side of what we're looking at. And it started as that. And then after a while, we were like, you know, we could do some other things. And we were working on promotions, but not the solid book promotions like the cover reveals and the blog tours and things like that. We were really just playing around with marketing and advertising when the opportunity to acquire Blush presented itself. And the heavier promotions actually came after. So it kind of just, January is our month when we like have our like team meetings and talk about what we want to do and all that stuff. And that seems to be the time when Alyssa and I and Megan now and Trisha are like, hey, this would be really cool if we did this. And then we always keep adding on around January. And it's been consistently every year since we started. So now we're like, are we going to have a break year? Is it going to be a slower year?
It's never fully been on purpose. It's really just been like, hey, let's have this like connect meeting, and then an idea pops up and we just kind of run with it.
Got it. As far as long-term goals for Blush Magazine, are you hoping to eventually have like a Blush event or some kind of convention? What are you thinking of? What's in the future for Blush?
I've seen the back end of people running things like that, and I'm not nearly as organized, and I am way too anxiety driven to be able to spearhead something. I'd rather be like the anchor.
I think we've talked about it like twice, like doing some sort of event,
small.
And then chicken out. I would much rather partner with an experienced.
Yeah.
Like the idea of putting down like a $10,000 event deposit or a $30,000 event deposit makes me want to vomit. And
okay. Gotcha. Or maybe smaller events. It doesn't have to be like
we've actually talked about doing like a boutique signing that wasn't, thousands of people, but was maybe like 50 or 100 tickets and like 5 authors. And we got like one of our friends who's like a BFD to like headline it for us.
Oh yeah.
And that would be fun. And that's probably like what we could do. But we're like, it seems really weird to say it, but we're both actually pretty like shy, introverted people.
I don't believe you.
We really are.
I don't believe you.
Like we are the worst because we travel a lot together, and half the time we find ourselves like in a hotel room with a handful of friends drinking wine, and we've been known to make our own charcuterie boards in our hotel room.
Using things you find around the room, or like
no, we found like liquor stores where you can buy a bottle of wine and like a bunch of cheeses. But now we have like one event we bought, like it was like a small like board with a small cheese knife, and now we just kind of pack it with us because
okay, I was afraid that you were like cutting up bars of soap and playing charcuterie.
No, we go.
I don't know how much you were drinking. So when you said charcuterie in your hotel, it's like, I don't know.
Well, we're both also lightweight. So one bottle of wine and we're like split between the two of us, and we're a mess.
Okay. I like that whole hotel charcutes situation. You've co-authored a rom-com called Ready to Run. It released in 2021.
Yes.
And that was under Jennifer Rebecca and ALYSSA KALE, which is your alias, your pen name. First of all, like, what's Ready to Run about?
Well, Alyssa was addicted to TikTok during the pandemic, and she would send me like TikToks that she was like, this is a great book plot. This is a great book plot. And one of them was a girl who was like running away from her wedding, but with her best friend. Like she was taking her like man of honor on her honeymoon, and like sparks flew. And I was like, that is genius. And I was like, I don't really write rom-com anymore. I don't really know what to do about that. Alyssa actually she has a solo book that is massive because it's like 1 million words under her belt. So she was she wrote contemporary romance or sports romance at the time.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, okay, let's do it. And everybody was just super bummed. It was like a really rough time. We were writing it at the end of 2020, like early 2021, and just playing around. And it was when, you kind of just needed something to have fun and cheer up.
Right. Got it. Now, being it was a rom-com, who brought the funny?
Our sense of humor is really different. Like Alyssa is not an idiot, and I am. So I think that is like, I'll make a lot of like really ridiculous, like the really ridiculous jokes. Everybody can tell that's me because
yes. But it's the way we did it. I wrote primarily in the male point of view, and she wrote primarily in the female point of view.
But we go through like write a chapter and I'd look at it and like leave comments and be like, hey, can we change this? Or do you like this better? And then I'd write my chapter and we just did it all in Google Drive. So then she'd come in, she'd read through it, like, I really love this, but what the hell is this? And let's change. And like she, like my favorite is that like when I write, I just make shit up. Like what places look like what the town is, all of it. Yeah. And she's like leaving me like comments in Google Drive that's like, this is the resort in Bora Bora, and this is exactly the hotel number, and this is the menu in the restaurant. Like she's so detail oriented, and I'm like, I mean, cool, okay, let's do it.
Wow. Look, I needed like the layout in my head. Like, where was he gonna bang her up against the wall at if I can't see it in my head?
She's looking up like architecture schematics for a hotel that we're never gonna go to. But like,
I've been in book club for a long time, and those are the types of things we'll discuss. Is well, logistically, he had an arm here and a leg there. So how were they in the backseat of the car? I know that in the moment it might seem like, well, who's going to care? People will care.
It would have been Twilight. I did your typical Twilight, jumped into some dystopian, and then hit 50 Shades.
You went from YA to then 50
because I didn't start reading. I didn't really start reading as a hobby until I was about 19.
Okay.
So I was already an adult reading romance.
My sorority sister is a middle school teacher, and she came down for my bridal shower and was reading Twilight at the time, and she was like, my middle schoolers told me I had to read this, and I binged that, and then I was like, well, where can I go from here?
Twilight.
So Twilight was our gateway drug, apparently.
Wow.
It was, looking back, it was like a little inappropriate what those children were getting up to. Like, I mean,
yeah, middle school kids reading that.
It's a little spicy halfway through the series. Like,
yeah, it does. It does indeed. Would you rather be transported through time and space to become a romance protagonist in a historical romance set during the Viking era or the medieval era?
Oh, give me Vikings all day long.
Agreed. Would you rather be transported through time and space to become a romance protagonist in a historical romance set during the Victorian era or the Roaring 20s?
Ooh, the Victorian era. Like, it's so ridiculous and so buttoned up that like there's way more like when you're like so like everything's got to be so prim and proper, everybody's really like dirty behind closed doors.
Okay,
that one.
Sounds
Where
good.
The Roaring, I read The Great Gatsby. I know what happened.
Okay. Yes, I'm partial to the Victorian era myself.
Yeah.
Would you rather read a steamy rom-com titled Hot Guy Car Wash or Scrub a Dub Stud?
Oh dear. Hot Guy Car Wash?
Stop.
I don't know. Neither?
Neither? Oh,
Stop.
I don't like that. So I came up with these titles. So you would say a Hot Guy Car Wash. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather read a monster fantasy romance titled Cyclops of My Heart or Getting Lucky with a Leprechaun?
Ooh. How hot is the Cyclops?
What was that?
How hot is the Cyclops? Like is it a hot guy on the cover? Is it steamy?
Listen, you want me to paint a picture for you now?
Parameters here.
Okay, he's a hot Cyclops, but the Leprechaun is also hot. So it's two hot monsters.
Probably the Leprechaun. I've also probably read that book. It feels like I think I've read a Leprechaun.
I made up these titles, I promise you.
I know, but I think I've read like I have not written a Leprechaun trope. I have read a Leprechaun trope though.
Really? Okay. Well, maybe I need to.
I'll read anything.
Okay. Would you rather be trapped in a genre mashup bookstore that only sells paranormal shape-shifting Amish romance novels, or only erotic Western rom-coms?
Erotic Western rom-coms.
Wow, I came up with that. You answered that quickly. Do you not like shapeshifters that much?
No, I am not a fan of the shape-shifting genre.
Okay.
I mean, unless it's the tiger from the Sookie Stackhouse books, because he was hot.
Would you rather be trapped in a tropey mashup bookstore that only sells secret baby billionaire romance novels, or single mafia parent romance novels?
Probably Secret Billionaire Baby, because that's kind of like, that's my go-to. Like, I love a secret baby and I love a billionaire. I know it's so terrible. And everybody's like, no, but yeah.
You know, I usually when I mention secret babies on this show, people are like, nope, I don't like it. Yeah.
I both love secret baby romances.
Like, that's fantastic. I love an accidental pregnancy. I mean, not in real life, clearly. Yeah, I love it. It's so fun. Like, it's just deliciously, like, kind of dirty. Because, I mean, it is dirty because you know how they got there.
Yeah. Good reasoning. Would you rather read a romantic suspense novel with a 2-star review that has received praise for hot sex, or would you rather read a romantic suspense with a 4-star review that lacks high stakes danger?
2-star with sex.
Aha! Would you rather read a fantasy romance with a 3-star review that has received praise for world building, or would you rather read a fantasy romance with a 5-star review that contains insta-love?
I love insta-love, so I would choose the 5-star, but I don't typically get books based on the star rating because it's subjective.
So what can readers expect from Jennifer Rebecca? What do we have coming up? Any new releases that we should put in our TBRs?
For my birthday, which is in November, I am going to release the first book in a new trilogy. It's called King of Lies. It's a spinoff from my presidential political romance books. So it's on the other side of the world. It's international intrigue, lots of secrets. It's a lot of fun.
What's coming up with Blush Magazine?
We do have some stuff planned. In January. We're going to be giving a free book a month, like we have through Lit Uncorked, but it'll be through Blush next year. So that will be fun. And then, of course, we'll always have more authors, more interviews, more guest posts. We'll probably have some tax stuff coming up for indie published authors, or even authors who are published through a publisher. There's a lot of tax incentives and stuff that are important. It is very dry, but people really like it and get a lot of good information out of it.
Right. Thank you so much, Jen and Alyssa, for joining me here on Reader Seeks Romance. It was a delight.
Thank you so much for having us.